Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. Oh, I heard a little music for a second. It was a little bit of a ghost music. But, anyways, welcome everyone to today's talk where we talk about how hard it can be to show up. And here I am with Theon showing up today, and I hope you all are here with us as well. For those of you joining in, again, just thank you. Take a few minutes to settle. We always just chit chat for a bit in the beginning because we know people transition from one meeting to the next. And if you are here already, something that Thea and I would love to hear in the comments and just to get a sense like what got you to show up to today's topic of like, why is it hard to show up in person to things that in our life as well. Yeah, so feel free to come on in and I guess to just ground us for the rest of this conversation, I usually share a quick agreement at the top because I love these conversations and I know they're a little different from what folks usually hear in a workspace or like on LinkedIn, for example. And I wanted to just acknowledge that oftentimes when we're in conversations around work or with family, it's really easy to get into this like right or wrong context of like, well, he said, she said. And I just wanted to be really plain that like today, Theon and I, yeah, we got great opinions and stories to share with you all today, but they're two of many, many thoughts in the world. So stay open and stay curious and take what's useful for you today for your journey. And usually these are topics that are much bigger and are not things that will just get resolved within a 60-minute conversation. So we hope that you will take it and just like carry it forward with you in your day and hope to make that experience a little easier for you as well. All right. So to get us started, Theon, I'm so excited to have you here with me. I feel a little nostalgic and familiar, but at the same time, like, wait, hold up. It's like meeting a friend in person for the first time,
Yeah.
but not quite, even though we haven't gotten there yet. So Theon and I have been in conversation for a long time, and I'm really, really excited to finally do a live with him. So Theon, would you like to say hi to everybody and introduce yourself?
Uh, Hello, I'm Theon, and also, first of all, Betty, that intro, okay, already bringing the heat. Like, she's done this before. Hello, my name is Theon Freeman. I'm a community and event strategist and producer, and honestly, finding that title is always, I think, ever changing thing for me of understanding of this is what I feel like in this moment, and so that's what I am in this moment. Check back with me in a couple of weeks, months. Um, then that might change. But as far as my values, as far as the way that I show up for myself, for my clients, and for my community, I think that's a piece that just stays consistent. So I'm looking for a way to let's do all the same work, but call me whatever you like.
Yes. Oh, I'm gonna butcher this. I was like, a rose is still a rose, or still smells like a rose if you call it a different name. Someone tell me what the actual thing is in the comments. But yeah, I feel you on titles. Like it's sometimes a struggle to find what captures us. And I have to just say, like, if folks feel the way Thea and I do, a thought that's been really helpful for me recently is just like we're people of multitudes,
Mm.
right? It's hard to fit all of us into a quick 20-second tagline. So here, maybe I'll give it a try to introduce myself as well. For those of you who are new, thank you so much for joining Thea and I today for this conversation. It's very near and dear to our heart. My name is Betty Chan and I am an authenticity life coach and speaker, and on occasion also a workshop designer, facilitator as well, along with many more commas. Let's see, only child, Burmese, Chinese, family background, and occasionally a boxer as well. I think that usually surprises people to find out about me.
Betty, I think that introduction then immediately told me, okay, actually, wait a minute, I'm more.
Yes.
And so, in addition to the things I said before,
Hmm.
night, a brother to two amazing
Oh.
sisters who are both older. I'm a son. I am a friend to many, very
Mm.
close friend to several. I really enjoy communities. I'm a deacon of storytelling at my church
Mhm.
in Brooklyn, an LGBTQIA plus affirming church, I might
Yes.
add. And I think I'm a constant learner, and I think because of the
Mm.
constant learner is what kind of pushed me into like facilitation or production or these. How do we continue to find the different ways that we get to show up? And
Mhm.
and that statement that you just said about even the boxing and all the other parts of your identity is the parts I feel we sometimes forget when people
Mm.
actually those introductions,
Yes.
you know?
Yes. So here's us showing up beyond our title and then some. So welcome to those of you who also have multitudes and joining us today. And yeah, I imagine this will come up again and again in our conversation today, which is like, how do we keep showing up,
Yeah.
especially when it's hard? And I think there hard is already something a lot of us feel when we hold so many parts of who we are. Like as people who hold a lot of identities, it's easy to end up in a place to ask like, who am I? How am I showing up? What do I want to show up today? So for me, that's a lot in my personal journey of authenticity and the work, and it's also in the work I do as a coach. And I like to bring it from a lens of like gentleness. Like, how are we leveraging gentleness as an unexpected and underrated strength in how we communicate with ourselves, and therefore help us develop the muscle and capacity to communicate with the people around us as
Mm,
well. Yeah.
love that.
So shall we dive in?
Let's
Yeah.
go.
All right. So we've been talking about this for a minute. A little context for those of us joining us live today, or if you're doing in the rewatch, welcome as well. Theon and I have been talking, like we caught up at the start of this year. It was a minute before since we've been in a conversation together, and we were just like, "Yo, where have you been?" Right?
Mhm,
Like we felt like we were like hiding,
mhm,
not just from each other, but just like we were a little bit in that like hibernation mode of like I'm not quite ready to go back out into the world yet. Which I noticed for me like happens almost every winter on the dot. But there was just like something more at the start of this year that was adding to that weight and heaviness. So we had a lovely conversation around it, just to like a good fine wine, just like let it decant and air out a bit of like what were all those feelings and thoughts we were holding and like spinning in our head and ruminating that had us feel like we were trapped in that position. And how did we find our way back to showing up? Because for us it's really important to show up not just for ourselves to take up space, but also for the messages and the other values that we really want to hold and share with the people around with us.
yes.
So, yeah, I guess I'll start off, Theon, if you could just take us back in time a little bit, if that's the helpful place to start. But like, what felt hard for you when it came to showing up?
I think what felt hard for me was now I'm really good at showing up for others, and I think
Mm,
particularly from when it's like either of a client type of work or,
mm,
when I was more so in traditional 9 to 5 jobs or friends reaching out and needing support, especially when it's like emotional support or something that makes you want to think or look inwards. It's very easy for me on that aspect uh,
mm,
to be with them, to hold space. For the beginning of the year, much of it was that I had to be I wasn't physically on by myself. I wasn't alone. I still had
mhm,
community. I still had people who care for me. But I think the journey of trying to figure out the next steps was the loneliest feeling. And
mm,
part of me says, yes, I know what to do. I do X plus Y equals Z. And I already spoke to 1, 2, 3 that told me and validated that that is the right thing to do. Uh,
yeah,
and
but
Exactly, it's the but. It's the then, okay, this is the right thing to do, but that's not what my body feels like doing. Oh,
mm,
I want to do and I want to create more. Oh, but no, I feel tired. I want to be in community. I don't want to see them. I know I can. I believe that I can do this. This makes sense. I did it
mm,
before, exactly like this. Wait a minute. It's not working the same way that it worked last time. And now that part has now given me so much more anxiety. And so I think it
mm,
became me searching for what work could look like in its way because it's been this like constant, as an entrepreneur, as getting different contracts and consultants or gig work or whatever you would like to call it. There is this piece of like having to do what you're doing as well as actively look for the next thing, and it's this
mhm,
like, flow. And
mm,
I think that because the clarity that didn't exactly said, Theon, walk up that to that corner, take a right, keep going, don't stop until you pass go type of situation.
yeah,
And
yeah,
so I didn't have it that clear. So then now everything in my body is kind of like, oh no, I'm not now I'm shutting down.
yeah,
Now I'm trying to find what makes sense. And now at the end of the day, the biggest part was that I wasn't trusting myself to make the decisions that I needed to move forward. I wasn't
mhm,
giving myself the power. And that's the
mm,
piece that I had to continue to realize, oh, wait, what's happening here, and then continue to
Mhm.
choose myself in these moments, even when I didn't know anything else to choose.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, I love the way you described, like, the comfort of having a clear plan. Go up the stairs, turn right, go down the hallway, and then you'll find a door at the end. Like, I think all of us want that to some degree. Like, I get that in the form of the question of, like, "What's my life plan for the next 2 to 5 years?" Right? And I used to get it when I was in my 9 to 5. Well, how do we get to the end of this project?
Mhm,
And it's tough sometimes because even I've learned the hard way, the very, very hard way, that even sometimes when you have a clear, detailed plan, like it's things can go unexpectedly,
mhm,
right? Or sideways, upside down, whatever it is. And I say that because I realize there's a part of me that has the expectation that has to be linear, that
mm,
it has to be progressively upward, steadily progressive. Like I have to keep getting better and better. I have to keep staying steady and consistent around things. Even though I've done a lot of work the last few years to detach myself and like redefine for myself what is steady, what is consistent, and how does that tie into how successful I see myself as well. Um, and it's hard because like the at the start of this year, I remember that I was like, wait, when I benchmarked this to the previous year, January, February, March was a busy time for
mhm,
people reaching out, asking for questions. What's authenticity coaching? I want to learn more about this. How about workshops? And this year, honestly, it was just really quiet. And I was like, oh, I was expecting a right turn here. And this is not the same hallway I'm used to walking down, and just like that a mix of like this is not what I expected, so the shock of like, oh my god, I don't know where I am anymore, so that lost in confusion a little bit. But then I have this follow-up thought of like, okay, well, what am I doing? I'm like, I am still talking to people, I'm still reaching out, if anything I'm doing more of that now. But the thought after that is what always gets me in trouble. Well, maybe I'm not doing enough, or
mm,
maybe I'm doing it wrong, which is not always true, right? Like when it comes to any kind of communication, whether it's marketing, whether it's an argument with a loved one, like wires get crossed, timing of information shows up differently. What I say and what I intend might land differently for the other person. And it's just there's some magic that needs to happen for like communication to be effective. And I feel like in the existential version of it, of like just finding work and business to keep going as an entrepreneur, I was like, what's happening here? And then it quickly led me to, Betty, you're doing it wrong. You're not doing enough. And like just started these feelings of like, yeah, shame at the end of it. Right. Like when I really peel back the layers, I'm like, oh, I don't like how I'm doing this.
yeah. You know,
Yeah.
it's interesting, Betty. I appreciate that share, and even particularly that hallway, because you're in that hallway and you're looking for the next door, and sometimes it's even like oh, this hallway feels completely different. Actually, you're further down the hallway than you were. Like, just
Mm-hmm.
walk further. The doors are different. Everything looks different, but it doesn't
Mm-hmm.
discount the journey or the movement that you've already made. But in that moment, it doesn't feel like it. In that moment, even if the whole hallway is lit, it has 100 lights in there. Only two light bulbs are on, and all I can see is right in front of me and directly behind
Yes.
me. Honestly, everything behind
Mhm.
me is lit up. Like I was like, oh, I guess
Hindsight is 2020.
like, but then you're like, no, but like I don't
Yeah.
know what it is. And then as that shame comes in, no matter, and I'll speak from the affirmative, no matter how much work that I've done around shame and judgment,
Mm.
how it sits with me, it is crazy of the level of nuance because the shame, I learned how to deal with the shame that I carried. But now the shame that I currently are either creating and am either creating and or holding feels
Mm.
different, looks different, or it's the same exact shame with a different mask on. And then
Yeah.
you're just like, I thought I worked through this. I thought I
Yeah.
did all of this stuff. And then more shame and judgment from myself comes because now I think that I've stepped back. Now I think
Mhm.
somehow I'm like I'm digressing and and then I'm like, well, is this a fact? Is this a fallacy? And then all the level of coaching speak or positive vibes
Yeah.
has been in
Mhm.
my space, for several years now. It's coming up, and I'm like, yes, but I know that's what it should be. And why is
Mhm.
it like this? And so then it's just
Mhm.
like, okay, what am I doing wrong?
Mhm.
where am I, what should I be doing instead? And then it's, I don't know, I said in the lowest of moments, I call it, in my room with the covers over my head, because
Yeah.
that feels, one, a false sense of safety and security, because the blanket, even as children, like we're holding that and that's keeping us tight.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
also as an adult, yes, that might be comforting, but also is it in favor? Yes, that might be
Mhm.
helpful in that moment, but also what am I doing? And so just going back to that piece on the level of shame and what and how nuanced it could look. The fact that we talked to earlier, containing multitudes and holding that identity or
Yeah.
holding that understanding is the same with these feelings of I can
Yes.
hold the fact of that I'm feeling shame right now. I don't know where to go. I'm still going to be doing something.
Mhm.
Exactly what it looks like. I'm gonna do what people ask of me. I'm
Mm.
responsive in these moments. The proactive aspect might still be dormant for right now in that moment, but I'm gonna do something and just
Mm.
keep on hoping that that's gonna be the right thing. And sometimes it lands so perfectly, and I think is divine, because also perfection is not real. Um, and then also other times it does exactly what it is,
Yeah.
and it numbs my feeling for a moment, and then
Mm.
retreated back to my covers, and so
Yes.
I was
That
shame.
withdrawal. Yeah.
Ooh, it's there.
It is there. And I think that's what we were feeling at the start of the year. And like the thing I loved is that we ended up in a conversation where we could like kind of gently pull the covers back for each other. It's like, hey, it's okay that you're under the covers right now. But Theon, Betty, remember that like this is not how you want to be all the time. And like, listen, I'm not here to shame, right? Like that's not helpful at all. Like
Exactly,
needing to be under the covers is fine. It's really
yes,
fine. And like, I think it's giving us a sense of like cultivating that safety for ourselves before we
yes,
get back into action and movement. Cause I find that whenever I take action from a place of fear or worry that I'm not doing enough, that I need to do more, like scarcity,
yes,
then I there's so much busy work, and every little thing that I've done before takes twice as long, twice as much energy to do because then I gotta shut my brain up and then do it. Like there's so
yes,
much mind chatter that happens at the same time. So I think it's actually fine sometimes to like withdraw under the cover, but like have people have ways that you could support yourself to like, okay, I'm ready to pull back the cover
yes.
now. Yeah, to be able
Yeah,
to show up.
and sometimes, I had, my last therapist, listen, I miss her. She was she went to practice for her own reasons, and I was like, "Oh, no." But she was the one that told me, now granted, it was in a different conversation. It was more so about when I get into moments of stagnance or, not knowing exactly where to go or honestly not able to make any decision. And
Mhm,
I come to terms with what that happens for me. What are some of my techniques or tools to be able to move forward? And hers was, okay, Theon, if you can't move in that moment, just get up and take one step. And so for hers, it was like,
mhm,
put on your clothes and go somewhere. Walk out your house. Walk out
mm,
your house. Keep on walking. Now you keep on walking. You saw something. You want to take, not the tree caught your eye. You want to go sit under it. Go sit under the tree. Just keep doing
mhm,
things until you can figure out what else it could look like. And I'm only giving that example too, because to your point, there will be the things that we need to be able to move forward. There will
mhm,
be things that have comfort that we call in that,
mhm,
that help us in that moment. And there's also that understanding of that was good. I rested.
mhm,
I chose myself in that moment. I
mm.
felt the feelings. I did what I need to do. And now I'm going to move forward. And
Yes.
now I'm going to try. And now I'm
Mhm.
going to see something different because again, it's that active choice to step into something different that's going to allow us to continue to keep in that movement.
Yes.
And a
Yeah,
movement that feels authentic to us and not a movement that's just prescribed by
yeah,
whomever else or operate or systems in and around us. You know what I'm saying?
yes.
Like, you know?
Well, I like how you mentioned, like, if that tree caught your eye, go for it, right? Because that's something I talk about with my clients all the time. Like, recharging yourself, it looks different for every person. Some people, it's laying down and taking a nap. Some people, that is like the absolute worst thing for them to recharge. They actually need to go and like do the dishes and do the laundry and the cleaning, whatever it is. Like, it's giving our body the space to then say like, "Hey, I need this right now. Hey, I want this right now." And then honoring it, because showing up in most cases for us is actually not always honoring us, because we're also honoring other people we're showing up for as well. So it's only like half the pie that we're doing. So like we got to make sure that we have spaces where we get to take up all that like care for ourselves. We get to take that in as well.
Yes.
Um okay, Petty Betty's coming out because she's like, listen, you guys are all elevated and everything now because we've done the work. We're still doing the work, to your point, right? Like, no matter how much time we do, like, shame has a slightly different nuance, a slightly different flavor in the season.
Mhm.
And that we have to contend with that and learn from that as well. Um, but what I noticed that's absent in both our shares is that that's something that was not absent in my younger self, was that if I felt like I couldn't show up, I would then attack other people and blame other people around me. Has that
Mm,
ever happened to you?
mm,
Or like, I can't show up because this person didn't give me what I needed, or like I can't show up, etc. And I hear it a lot right now with just like the struggle of job search and layoff as well. Granted, like that's a system outside of us ourselves, not to say like it's one person's fault or the other, but
mhm.
like I feel like it's hard to feel like we're in power of anything. It's hard to feel like we can change anything when everything is happening at us.
Yeah. Yes. Hello, Patty Betty. This is Theon from Stories Past, and I'm saying I think it was less for me of blaming people, and
Mm.
I would say that it was a circumstance. Because
Mm. Yeah.
so like so and it might have been a circumstance, and it also probably would have been a previous choice that I made. And so I would
Mhm.
have gotten down on myself that one is the circumstance, and two, I did that. So now I deserve the downfall, or I deserve this. And there's more there laid around the self-worth and how
Mm.
much grace I've been giving myself over the years. And that's a constant, that's still a piece that I'm working on, the idea of grace, because I think I give myself grace in moments. And then when I look back, I'm
Mhm.
like, "Man, you wasn't actually giving yourself grace. You were
Oh.
you were doing something else. Like
Okay.
thought you were, but."
Mhm.
And then I'm like, wait, even that conversation, even that voice in that moment, am I giving myself grace? And it becomes this whole cyclical thing.
Oh my gosh, yes.
But back to that piece on understanding, and what I heard was almost like accountability within your own ability
Mm.
to choose within within the dynamic that's at play. Yeah, it's hard because there's also an aspect of when when you're feeling those feelings, and what veil or what kind of thing is in front of your eyes around how you're seeing it, your perception of the of the events, of that. Oh
Mhm.
no, well, this keeps happening, or I got laid off multiple times, or I got hired last at the company. And again, all those things are very true, and all
Mhm.
be true. And also that piece on choice. Before this call, I spoke to someone, and my friend Jason, and actually he's a coach as well. And actually, do you know Jason Frizzell?
Yes. Hi, Jason.
We connected, and we were talking about something. I was just catching up, and the
Mhm.
conversation on choice and effect. And he just like, oh yeah, I remember that from
Mhm.
coaching 101 and that different pieces. And in that moment, I said, oh no, I need to hear this on the choice and effect.
Yeah.
Because in that moment is like, okay, are we choosing how we want to actually be within this moment, or is this we're just allowing it to be and give us no choice in that moment? And I'm
Mm.
paraphrasing from how I received.
Mhm.
And so then it goes back to like, with that accountability, what do I get to choose, and how do I get to be proactive in that element
Mhm.
of what I want to cultivate, what I want to create, and what I'm trying to do. And even in this moment, Betty, and I say this moment, but more so in this season that I'm experiencing, that piece on choice and effect it's as important as it was then. And now I think even more so, um, as I've got great folks to talk about this with, that I'm realizing, yes, I am in more choice than I actually thought I had. And so
Yes.
even when scarcity's hitting really heavy, or the bank account is low, and I'm defining myself entirely by how much money's in
Mhm.
my bank account, then I'm like, wait,
Mm.
it's here to reframe it for myself. Or if it's maybe the contracts aren't as lined up as I wish they were, or the gigs in that moment or that month. This is actually a great time to be learning more, or recognizing the skills that I have. This might be a great time to be to networking more, or connecting, or all these other aspects. But,
Mhm.
right, but sometimes that choice just feels like we don't actually have it, and it has to be made for us, you know?
Yeah.
And so it's, how can we continue to still keep agency when our own mind tells us that we have none? And it's like, hey,
Yes.
be quiet. Like,
Yeah. Sit down over there. Yeah.
yeah.
Yes, that's so beautifully said, and, thank you, Jason, for, like, indirectly coaching me as well today of, like, the choice and, like, the effect as well because, I mean, I'm never one to make feelings a bad thing. I used to, right? I used to be like, "Oh, so emotional, feel too many things, feelings has no use," but then I realized, I was like, "Oh, yes, when it's really intense, it does cloud my view of choices."
Mhm.
But at the same time, it's trying to tell me about choices I've made in the past that that isn't fully honoring something else I said. So
Yes.
let me be more specific. Like sometimes I can feel myself getting mad at myself for not living up to a value of mine. So a value of mine that I've like literally, and sometimes it's funny because like we hold values, we live into them, but we never like say them out loud and say like,
Mm,
this is my value. Like this is my hair color. My hair color is black. My shirt is green. To like actually say that out loud. And generosity was one that I never allowed myself to say out loud
mhm.
for a lot of raising like reasons of my upbringing of like how it didn't feel safe to be generous as folks who, you know, like my parents grew up poor and then when they made money the government took it all away. So
Yeah.
like there were I did live with parents who did do the practice of like keeping money under the mattress, right? So which doesn't nowadays we know it's not helpful for growing wealth and having like financial stability as well. But that's the background of how I was raised around money and around like, oh, you can't give because we don't have enough. But for me, it's like if generosity to me means giving without the expectation to receive back,
Mm,
then for me, I also then peel back another layer. I'm like, you know what? Right now, I'm not rolling in dough in Q1. I
mhm.
don't have that many clients. So, but I have time.
Yes.
I have more time. And like generosity is not only always donating $100, $500,
Yes.
$2, whatever it is you can give at the moment. But there are other ways that I can give also with time. So like for me, I'm like, okay, how do I be generous in a time where it doesn't make sense to be generous? Because my bank account isn't as high as I imagined it would need to be for me to be generous and to give back to people. And yeah, just like being able to like see that choice. And I think knowing and naming your values for yourself at any given point in your life. And I do believe values change depending on your season, depending on your life stage. So knowing what that is and what the ranking is for yourself really, really helps me at least to like have a more balanced conversation with my feelings of like, okay, yes, I get you feel this way. I get you feel like we're not doing enough. But rather than just sit there and spend my extra 10 hours to do more marketing or more outreach, which I will do some more, can
Mhm,
I also can I keep living into the values that I said I wanted to live this season, which is to be generous, to
mhm.
practice giving in a time when it doesn't feel like it makes sense to give.
I love I love the piece particularly on even when you're in a place of lack, still looking for the opportunity to give or gift.
Mhm.
Um, I do, there's also this piece on where our unique gifts that we have and how we're able
Yeah.
to then share that with people in and around us. And so, um, in around that same time that we first connected, and I was still feeling that piece on like withdrawing, I was the most present for other folks that I met along the way, particularly local entrepreneurs um, who, for instance, needed like event services or some sort of strategy with it. Now, that might not have been their direct request, but their first request was just like, "Hey, can we have a call?" And then along the way, I'm hearing
Mhm.
like, "Oh, they're doing this event or they're doing that or this or they're building this community." And it's just like, "Okay, great. Well, Like, you know, have you considered doing X? Have you thought about Y? Have you thought about 1 plus 7 might equal 8, but 4 plus 4
Mm,
equals 8 as well? And so
mhm,
it just became, how can we then start to just have those conversations? And for me, it felt like, oh yeah, I'm just having a conversation. For them, they
yeah,
said, oh, thank you for like giving me this coaching or giving me this consulting, and
mhm,
your time is valuable and X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, it's a conversation. Like that's a,
mm,
because at least I get to show up in community, and you are asking me things that continue to make me feel alive or make me feel in flow.
mm.
And I
Yes.
and some things that came naturally, and those gifts, I started to understand my gifts more ah, when I started to really understand how some folks were seeking after that specific element. And I'm like, oh,
Mm,
so it's not just talking about and whiteboarding and strategizing and creating some sort of plan for X, Y, and Z. And then that
mhm,
started to, like, even in the seasons where I'm like, okay, well, now I'm giving without that expectation, but now what I'm receiving is, oh, wait, I'm understanding more how to pitch my services,
mhm,
more of what people might be getting this value out of. And even when I've named my own values over here,
mm.
there's still these new identified pieces that they're now bringing up for me. Or in this moment, I'm like, oh wait, no, more of that. I want to talk more about that, and just like let's figure that out, or
Yeah.
the system and the methodology. And back to that point
Yeah.
of always learning
Yes.
the feedback elements. And that's also
Mhm.
where we get to hone in on our gifts and crafts, because it's not that every single person has exactly what you do. And even when
Oh,
our
absolutely
brain is
not.
telling us that, oh wait, this is like dime a dozen. No, it's too unique. It's literally you. Like this,
Yes.
whatever insert science number of your existence on this earth. Like that's how unique that gift is. And so I love just coming back to
Mm.
how could I be of service? And in the moment, like it's just, I don't know, it's just it I don't know. I like all the nuanced ways of asking, how can I be of service? And even when I'm not even asking, and it's just like, let me just have this conversation. Another friend, she told me, her name is Rachel Kimber. I'm just naming names now. So I hope they see this. But
I'm gonna
Rachel,
message them after.
yeah, Rachel said, she said, Theon, you'll always have good days if you continue to fill your day speaking to good people.
Mm,
That was the
yes.
piece that when I felt honestly at my lowest at times, I said,
Mhm,
okay, I'm going to fill my day with good people, and I'm going to have good conversations. And by the end of it, my spirit was back up. It might drop back
yeah.
down tomorrow. It might look like whatever it looks like, but in
But we
this,
filled it up today. Mhm,
exactly. And
mhm.
that's the best that I can do, is
Yeah.
figure out what's happening today and go from there. Like, it's 2025.
Yeah,
Who knows what's going on? Like,
I know. Yes, very much so, like, and
yeah.
it can feel like so much is out of our control, and there is, but there's also so much in our control, and I love, like, finding out, like, who are the people that remind you of that? How
Yeah.
do we see that for ourselves? Because 'Cause you're right, we all have very specific gifts, even if it doesn't feel like it. You and I both do facilitation, but we're gonna do it differently.
Yeah.
And then when we're together, that's gonna look like a third difference, right?
Yeah.
So it's even better when it's in combination. Sometimes I think of it as paint colors, right? You got two paint colors. They're both paint colors. You got blue, you got yellow, but when you put it together, you got green. So you make a lot of different variations as well. And for me, it was that almost like leaning back into my creativity and like you said good
Mhm.
conversations was like okay if I myself right now in this season am only creating blues
Mhm.
who are my yellow people who are
Mhm.
my red people and like can we do something together and I love how you just like I would say if there's one suggestion I can give to folks today of like okay I am struggling how do I show up peel it back, simplify it. What's a simpler thing you can do? What's that one step, right? And like if it's having a conversation, it's not to have a conversation to make a sale. It's not to have a conversation to network. It's not to have a conversation and then get clear about an idea. All that will happen in time. The first part is just having a conversation to be present with each other. And
Mhm.
that energy exchange
Yes.
has to happen before anything else capitalistic creative needs then can happen on top of it.
Yes. Yes.
Mhm.
Yes. Oh, anything else to
Yes, we're done,
add?
everyone. Goodbye.
Amazing dropping mics today. So I said, yes, Betty. Yes, drop the mic.
Yeah, and it's heartening work. Like it's something that I know you and I are still continuing to discover for ourselves, like in titles for me in terms of like how do I serve in terms of authenticity and gentleness, which I know are not unique concepts in this world.
Yeah,
But there are two things that I will swear to you on my dying bed, I will still continue to talk about. So
yeah,
it's like, why these two? Why me? How do I bring this into the world? And also, like, just releasing the expectation that I have to figure that out today,
yeah,
this year, this quarter, whatever it is. I'm like, I can't predict that because I don't have all the information I need. All the information hasn't even arrived yet. It's not that I'm not seeing it, it hasn't even come to this realm or whatever that I'm working on as a coach in terms of how best do I serve folks because all I can do is all the lights behind me are well lit up like you said
yeah.
and learn from there and keep going one light at a time.
I I love it. I think, and there were a couple of things you said before that struck me, but particularly on the piece on values is something as well. I think you know, figuring out. I think naming values. Sometimes it may feel a bit anxiety provoking to say, "Oh, this is my value," and
Mm,
make this heart staunch. But more so, it's just asking you to look inwards and to feel what are the things that kind of sit on your heart, on your mind,
mhm,
on your being. And I
mhm,
remember a while back, and so of the main things that I do, I preach from time to time, and I was just thinking about a sermon, and particularly, it's what are the words we get to collect in this lifetime? And
mhm,
I look at values as those words. And so
mm,
as we collect them, as we see what how they sit with us and how they relate to us, great. And those three words, that was awesome, and that was great in that last season. I was going through, a heavy time when it comes to work or personal life, and those got me through. Okay, great. Now is the next season. Two more words came from, and honestly, and to be very clear, like, and I'm not going to say my words here because it is something personal. Somewhere you can find them though, and so because there's poems and there's letters and there's
mhm,
honestly thought leadership. There's a whole bunch of different things, but
mhm,
my first three words I got when I was at a job several years ago, and that stayed with me, and I thought those defined me. I then moved over. I went to a retreat
mm,
and someone, and this is many years later, one of the coaches said, Theon, you know what? These are your essence words.
mm,
And I grabbed those three. Now I have six. And then I was going through a hard time and I found a friend's obituary. And I found
mhm,
more words. And now I have
mhm.
words that continue to like swirl through my head and my existence.
Yeah.
And a while back, many years ago, this woman, Joan, she was a researcher. She talked about the idea of constellations. And so people have North Stars. They have
Mhm,
ways in which they see and they keep saying, okay, I have this one thing, I'm going to push forward. Some of us need more than that. Some of us naturally
mm,
multiple words, multiple constellations, multiple stars that form that
yeah.
constellation. And so as we continue to look towards what kind like the values that hold us and tie us to this earth, to our communities, and to the ways that we get to walk this life, it is that piece of, oh no, because there's so much greater. And so even when I know, like,
Mhm,
okay, like I again, it's hard for me to make that choice in the moment, but I will
yeah.
look at my values. I will look at my constellation. I will particularly look at my tools of healing. Then I'm like, okay, I can dip into the bag for that moment,
Mhm,
It starts to like continue to kind of resource us. Or that's how I
yeah,
found my way to get out of some of those moments when
yeah.
I felt like, oh, I'm really, really in the trenches. What are those words? I got some tatted
Mm,
on too because I was like, I want to see it all the time. And so I don't know. So before we talk, just again back on the values, I think some of the greatest work that we can do is to really understand what our values are, own that they might change, but
mhm,
also revisit them. They changed to this, but yeah, I want to go back to that. That's why sometimes you
yeah,
have like books that you've journaled in over the years or whatever.
mhm,
It's supposed to read it because you're like, oh wait, like in that moment, I truly thought community was my only value. And then
mhm,
2 months later, I walked into this space and I realized, oh, there's more. You know,
mhm,
that's some of that kind of extra magic that gets to happen, and then
yeah,
in that moment, it gets to fill your cup because 'cause you're like, "Oh, yes." I
yes. Oh, I love that, and back to what you said earlier, like 1 plus 7 equals 8, but 4 plus 4 also equals 8. And I
Mhm.
think a lot of times when people come to authenticity, identity,
Mhm.
choices, decisions, it feels like there's one. There's one, there's a North Star. And it's like, yeah, literally, when people sailed across the ocean, they used the whole sky,
Yes.
all the constellations, right? It's not
Oh,
the North Star helps a lot because it's bright as heck, but there are other stars that are helping us
we
along the
crossing
way.
oceans now, Betty. Stop playing.
This is for our analogy, people. If people live in analogies the way Theon and I do, I hope this supports you because it definitely is supporting me. I'm like, yes, especially as people with multitudes, right?
Yes.
It's we are more than one word, we're more than a series of words. We
Yes.
have chapters, we have seasons.
Mm,
We are allowed to change, our values are going to change. And it's an evolution
yeah.
inside of a lifetime.
And
Right.
we're allowed to own that, period.
Mm-hmm.
And so whomever
Yeah.
tells you not, then
Yeah.
I guess they were there for I'm sorry, like, you know? No, we have the sum of
Yeah.
all we're the sum of all the different things, and experiences. And yes, they say, you know, there were some of the people that are around us, but I think there's
Hmm.
we're the sum of all these different aspects. And
Yes.
I like to give breath and room to it because then it just allows me to honestly give myself more grace in that moment too.
Hmm. Absolutely. And sometimes the thing I'm learning again and again in these last few years as an entrepreneur is just when it's hard, it's okay if you can't do it by yourself.
Yeah.
Right. And for me, for a long time, I thought community was like, I have to give something. I have to constantly give and donate and
Mm,
etc. I'm like, oh, actually, community is reciprocity. It's
yeah.
both ways. It's that when I need something, I get to take something too, hopefully with the permission of the other person, and they want to be there as well. But we need that, right? We need each other to, because grace for me, the way I was raised, not an easy thing to give to myself. So I
Mm,
need all the people around me to model that for me so that I can learn to give that to myself as well. But my job is to keep practicing to
yes.
give myself that grace that I so, so deserve. And I know we all do too.
Yes. Keep coming back to it.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. So I know this was a wide open conversation around because we love these. We like to look at the stars and the constellations and everything. But that's honestly what it feels like. Sometimes we eat at ourselves and we judge ourselves and attack ourselves of like, this is so simple. Why can't I show up right now? But that's because there's so much going on. Like
Yeah.
sometimes, yes, you don't know the exact steps. You might need a plan. That's okay. Draw that out. But if you find that there's still resistance,
Mm,
after that, there might be expectations and judgments. And if there's still resistance after that, maybe we need to phone a friend
yeah.
and like phone a therapist, a coach, whatever it is that we can feel like we have that space to then expand again before we can take action.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Hmm.
And I hope that the folks who are watching this, you know, I don't know, I've been in the piece of giving blessings to people, but honestly, I think this is just like I wish I was speaking to you directly, so I was looking at the camera, but like I hope that you understand, even in those moments of shame, even those moments when it feels like there isn't an answer or there isn't a direction or there isn't a way, to continue to look at and value all parts of yourself. To Betty, exactly what you said, to give yourself grace and honestly, I feel like I might be saying this for the recording for when I watch back this recording later, because I find that too is just like, no, Theon, in that moment, no, you're doing it. You're doing something,
Hmm.
you're still moving. Even if
Hmm.
it doesn't look like what you thought it was going to look like, you're still doing what needs to get done for yourself and you're prioritizing yourself in those moments. You know,
Hmm.
because again, my lifelong journey is going to continue to be how do I put myself first in the in some of these interactions and not from a oh it's only me. It's no, I
Hmm.
go through my values. I'm going to give already, so I need to then prioritize
Yes.
getting. I already know
Yes.
how they're gonna show up, you know? And
Yeah.
Betty, I already know how you're gonna show up, you know? And not I know every single part of you, but like, yeah, I can make a damn good assumption of how you're gonna show up. And so then I then ask how is Betty gonna prioritize herself as well. Also for anyone
Mm.
who didn't ask this, we also share the same birthday. And so there's a lot of
Oh,
Aquarius.
yes. There's a lot of Aquarian energy in the room.
So that's how we can go in the philosophical direction and then back to
Yes.
what's up.
Yes, definitely, definitely. And it is, Theon, like just to love on you publicly as well. Like it is a gift to know someone who can hold all that for when we feel messy, when we feel like we don't make any effing sense in the moment, right? It's like it's such a gift to have someone within arm's reach to be like, I can show up whatever freaking stars are showing up right now, and we will make sense of this together. So that is a gift.
Absolutely.
Thank you. All right. Well, any more parting wisdom for the
Mhm.
folks listening who's like, you know what, it's tough to show up lately. I really want to. Where do I start?
It's tough to show up lately. I really want to. Where do I start? Um, Take stock of how you show up for others. Take stock of how they're seeking you out. Take stock of how they feel when they leave your presence, and all those ways that you recognize that you were able to help, or maybe you just can't see it for yourself. Maybe some of those pieces can let you know where to go. Sometimes it's the validation
Mm,
that helps, or it's just the understanding of how you get to affect others. And honestly, and if it's any of that, just go back to the fact that you are trying your best. And the fact that
mhm,
you're choosing to look at change, you're choosing to look at movement, you're choosing all the ways that you get to show up, then you're doing something right, even if it doesn't
mhm,
feel like that. What's fact and what's
mhm.
fallacy?
Yes. Yeah. And get curious because everything we do for ourselves, like, and it makes sense. Like
Yeah,
there is an answer to like if you ask yourself, why does this make sense right now? Why do I want to hide right now? Get curious about that without judgment. And you
yeah,
might find some ideas there too, in addition to how you show up for others, I would say.
yes,
Hmm.
yes.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining me for this conversation, Theon. It's
Thank you for
a
having me, Betty.
joy. I'm pretty sure we're going to have another one.
Listen, I'm prepping. I'm prepping. Watch. And plus, the next time, I'm gonna have an amazing background sound.
Even better. Well, I wanted to ask you on behalf of the folks who are joining us, like if they want to get in touch with you, what's the best way to reach out?
Yes. Best way to reach out, LinkedIn, feel free. You can go ahead and send me a message there. Instagram, it's Theonius free. It's private because it's the world we're living in, but also I love to connect with others and talk through all the different events. If you're in and around the New York City area, also love to just reach out. Like there's so many
Yeah.
different ways. I I I I thoroughly enjoy meeting friends on different platforms and then getting the chance to meet them in real life or have additional
Hmm.
interactions. And so that is, yes, you can always reach out.
Yes, yes, will do. And I hope everyone got a sense of the amazing energy that Theon brings. And, I love always being in event spaces with him because it feels warm, it feels like inspiring, and it just feels like we get to show up as we are, which always is a gift. Always is a
Authentic,
gift.
intentionally. What's up?
Yes. And for those of you who want to get in touch with me, you might have come across this video either on YouTube or on LinkedIn. And, my website, heybettychan.com, has access to
Mm.
me everywhere else that I choose to be present nowadays, which changes quite a bit. So hit me up on the website. All right. Have a good one, everyone. Thank you for joining us and keep showing up. Keep being gentle to yourself.
Bye
All
bye.
right. Bye.